Hello everyone, it's Gary Boyce here from the Mind Zone, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined this evening by Chris Cutchie from Colchester Golf Club. Now Chris is a head pro at Colchester. I've known Chris a fair while, had the pleasure of playing and watching his ball striking, which if you ever get the opportunity, please do just go and watch him. Quite phenomenal. That was at Romford, I believe, about September last year, before any of this COVID-19 lockdown. And who would have known, Chris, that a few months later we'd be closing golf clubs, etc. So first of all, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Pleasure, Gary. It's nice to be here.
One question I'm going to ask you, we've now, what are we, the 24th of May now, 2020. We are just about to go into the 10th week of lockdown. Clearly as a teaching pro, and we'll come on to how it's affected your career, your industry, etc. But first of all, what have you been doing for the last 8, 9, 10 weeks to make yourself productive?
Well, the first thing we had to do is assess the damage that was going to be made. So, you know, we knew that the turnover would be down in the shop. We knew that we wouldn't be able to do lessons. So you had to be proactive and, you know, try and find out different ways of, you know, getting an income. So, you know, the one thing we did to start with, we decided it'd be a great idea to try and run a prize draw for our members. We're very lucky at Colchester. We've got some really loyal, good members, and they really, really well. So we gave away prizes like Scotty Cameron putters, Titleist drivers. You know, the great thing is the more support we got, the better the prizes. So it's been really good. Also, tried, you know, from a personal point of view. Obviously, I'm not playing tournaments, so it was actually quite a good time to try and get fit. I haven't done it for a few years, so it was actually quite good to try and get fit and do some exercise and get kind of ready for when we can, you know, return to golf. And also make some plans with, you know, the current clients and students that I've already got. You know, I'm very lucky. We've got loads of people that we teach at Colchester and, you know, who come to Colchester for lessons, and I've been in contact with them, trying to give them drills to do at home. Some of them are very fortunate to have nets and grass and bits and pieces to work on their games in this lockdown. And that, actually, I think a lot of people could be guilty of playing lots of golf and not practicing. So it's actually probably been quite a good time for people that actually should be working on a game to actually do some chipping, some short game, and actually do some ball striking drills.
Superb. And of course, you've now been back coaching probably a week and a half, something like that, maybe a week. How's that gone for you so far? Have you had a lot of members and guests coming along?
It's been great. We started last Saturday, so we had a few days after, you know, people were allowed to return to golf to get ourselves set up and ready. Again, we're very lucky with an outdoor space. We've got an indoor teaching studio that is obviously off limits at the moment, so we've had to adjust to that. And the area at the range we've got is wonderful. So we're really lucky, and we've you know, put all the measures in place. We've got all the bits and pieces ready. So we're always social distancing whilst coaching. Purchased a few different bits, so iPad stands just again so people can visually see without you being too close. And that's brilliant. You know, we've been averaging probably between the two pros probably 10 lessons a day. It's been really busy. So I think as well, talking about so how much golf people have played, some people find it harder to pick up golf clubs and put them down again. And especially when you've done loads of work with them, improving them, people forget. And so people have been back just for checkups and changes. It's been very positive.
Excellent, superb. And I mean, talking of your members and the people that come to you for coaching, given the fact that many of them haven't played, well, in fact, no one generally will have played 9 or 18 holes in that time, what would you say is one tip that the average club golfer, the amateur golfer, should now be doing now that they're up and running?
First and foremost, setting some short-term goals, some mid-term goals, and some long-term goals. That'd be the first thing I'll be doing. And then, for me, I'm obviously very biased being a golf coach, but I think everyone should have a coach in some capacity, whether it's a mind coach or a swing coach, or even someone just to help them around the golf course. You know, for me, work with someone, relate with someone, and you know, I think having a coach to overlook your swing. I had a guy come last week, he's late 60s. He basically said to me, I'm 64 years old. I'm never going to hit 300 yards. How can I get better? And 2 words was short game. So for me, if you can be a good wedge player, anyone could be a good wedge player. Not everyone can hit it 330 yards like Dustin Johnson, but everyone can be a good wedge player. And And I think that's where you go, right, actually, once practice facilities are now starting to open, don't go on a driving range, hit 27 irons, 23 woods and 20 drivers, go up there and do some short game for 45 minutes. And if you don't feel comfortable with your technique, go and see a pro, go and see a coach, and then you can work there.
Absolutely. I mean, I've certainly seen, mind zone wise, obviously I've been curtailed in terms of going out to clubs, etc., and doing evenings or master classes. But people have often said to me, what should I be out there practicing? And I said, well, it's good to practice anything, but only practice what the things, or let me put it another way, only practice good habits.
Absolutely.
I think it's so guilty, and I see this at a lot of ranges. If I turn up and you've literally got a bucket of 40 balls, get the driver out, get the big dog out, because it's maybe at the end of the day, you think bang, 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 and the balls are going down the middle, left, right, but there's no consequence to it at all.
Absolutely.
And when I talk to these people and I say, how often do you practice your putting? I say, oh, and let's be honest, Chris, and you will have seen this at Colchester and other places, amateur golfers tend not to practice their putting other than 5 minutes before they're going to have a round of golf.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
And even the pros, and I know because I've seen you play, I know you're a good putter, but even the touring pros, out of their sort of, 65 that they're going to play, probably if they've hit a 65 that day, probably at least 20, 24 of those shots are going to be putts, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny actually, because it depends how far you hit it, but a lot of the time you might only hit 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers in a round of golf, depending on the golf course, obviously. But you could easily have 40 putts. You could have your best ever ball striking round. If you have 40 putts, you're not going to win anything. So it's basically the amateur throws 3 balls on the green. They'll hit 3 putts, which are about 20 feet away. They might try and finish them out. They'll probably hit a couple of long ones, a couple of short ones, and walk onto the first tee. And it's, for me, you've got to practice your stroke. There's no, you probably see the same thing. The only people you tend to see on the putting green practicing their putting tends to be your golf professionals or your low amateurs.
Yes.
There should be absolutely no reason why that's the case. If anything, it should be the other way around, because I play lots of pro-ams and lots of golf with members who your mid-range and your low and your high handicap. And if they putt badly, they physically cannot win a competition. It's not possible. So, and that's where visualization and all those things can help with putting 100%. But you've got to put your time and effort into the bit that actually makes the difference.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's no secret, is it, when you look at statistics, most winners on the PGA, on the European Tour, in fact, any tour that you play on, the guys or girls that have had the best putting day generally are up there.
Absolutely. I mean, Justin Rose for me is a perfect example. So he got to world number 1 and he went from 130th in the world at putting up into the top 5. His ball striking probably didn't change that much comparable. And stat-wise, the only stat that jumped out the box was the putting stat. So, for him to be in that situation, it makes a big difference for him to hold some putts. It's simple as that. Absolutely.
Now, of course, we've had no professional tournaments, and you haven't been able to play the, I think, every county competition. Certainly, I was looking forward to the Leslie Wood and the Thornton Cup, Jubilee Cup, everyone. That's all been kiboshed. Quite rightly, of course, because lives do matter. But next week is the PGA Tour. And of course, we've potentially got the Ryder Cup coming up. We've got the Masters. It's going to be bizarre. The Masters in November. It's weird, isn't it? How do you think that's going to go in terms of... Well, let me ask you your thoughts, Chris. Ryder Cup. They're talking about doing it without fans. What's your thought?
Not a fan. Ryder Cup is all about team and bonding and getting involved with the crowd. I mean, Poulter thrives off that crowd. And to be honest with you, it's no offence to Ian Poulter, but I wouldn't say he's one of the best ball strikers and the most intimidating players to play against with his golf game. But mentally, He's fantastic. He deals with that pressure, and it's the same as anything really. It's the same as, you know, football to a certain extent. You know, you're in a big stadium audience, and you can go one way or the other. You can get quite nervous, or you can kind of thrive on it. And without that extra pressure of people, I think it would change the whole, you know, the whole concept of it, and how people kind of take it really.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on there. I love the Ryder Cup. I love the competitiveness of it, but you've got to have the fans there. And it's the same in every sport. I mean, they're talking about football, getting the Premier League and the sort of Championship, etc. back, playing behind closed doors. I know they're doing it currently in Germany in the Bundesliga, but it's still not the same. And I feel it's going to take quite a while for people to get back to some sort of normality.
Absolutely. And it kind of, I think for me, it comes very much into what your job is, to be honest with you, like your mind. I mean, if you're playing with, you know, against Tiger Woods and in front of 40,000 American fans and you're European, you're going to be pretty intimidated. But suddenly, if there's no one else there, it's just, you know, it changes the whole perspective of it. And
it does.
Different mentally, it's a completely different kettle of fish. You know, you on the PGA Tour, you have to be unbelievably focused to ignore big crowds. And a lot of people have said in the past, playing with Tiger, especially in last rounds of major championships with crowds, is that once Tiger's finished the hole, they all leave. You know, you're standing over it, there's hundreds of thousands of people leaving whilst you're trying to hold your 4-footer. So suddenly that you know, that's not in play, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen that time and time again in tournaments. I mean, personally, I'm a huge Tiger Woods fan.
Yeah.
And the fact that he won the Masters last year, when people were saying he'll never win a tournament again, let alone a major.
Absolutely.
But along with Tiger, again, the mental strength of Tiger to come back. And even if we look at the Masters last year now, I mean, it was incredible with Molinari. Really could have won it. The Tiger just ground him down. And I see that with a lot of the top pros. And I'm sure, I mean, I know you've got a few friendly rivals when you go on tour, and I've met some of them. No names, of course, but I may even give him a certain Mr. Talbot a call and see if he'd like to do something like this. But you obviously have that on your own tour, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be fair, mentioning no names, there's a certain man that wins a lot of tournaments that we play in, and he seems to be the person that holds a putt at the right time.
Yes.
More than most other people, you know. So the people that win tournaments, when it gets to 14, 15, 16, you know, you miss 2 greens out of that, you up and down them both, and you birdie the other one, you play them in 1 under, and the other time you don't do that, and it's a completely different kettle of fish. So it's, as you say, mentally, it's the last bit of the tournament. I think you'll find a lot, especially in our sort of 2 or 3 day events, or even if you're playing a 4-day event, it's not one on 2 or 3 days. It's one on the last 9 holes, especially, but the last 4 or 5 holes when you've got to put good swings on it, especially if you're playing with someone who tends to get the job done. You know, you've got to not overcome yourself. You've got to beat someone else as well.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you once again. I will put this video out on YouTube, etc., and I'll send you a link. But for those of us that are watching, and please stay on the line when I stop the recording. But for those of you that are watching, if you'd like to, and I mean, Chris is based at Colchester, but and I guess the middle of Essex, really, virtually, isn't it, Colchester? So if you are looking for a top teaching pro, please go along and see Chris. I'll put below the video when I produce it for you some links, etc., so they can go straight through to you, Chris, contact details, etc. But all I would say is thank you very much for joining me once again tonight. And stay on the line. We'll have a quick catch up afterwards. But for everyone else watching, thanks for watching. Give me a call if it's anything to do with your mind in terms of golf. If you want to go and get a great swing like Chris, then go and see Chris. Remember, practice that short game. Thanks, Chris, once again.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.